Good morning. We are grateful to gather both in person and online this morning as the Unitarian Universalist Society for a time of music, inspirational words, reflection, and connection. I'm Peggy Gurigas, Director of Congregational and Community Engagement. If you're visiting our service today, welcome. We hope you find the service meaningful. If you're visiting online, there should be a link to a visitor form underneath the video in YouTube of the service if you want to let us know that you have visited us today. If you are here in person, I would invite you to either turn off your phone or else both silence it and turn off your Wi-Fi so that it doesn't interfere with either our service or our Wi-Fi network. As Unitarian Universalists, we don't all believe the same things, but we covenant together as a community to support one another as we search for truth and meaning and live out our values in the world. This morning, we will celebrate our covenants together as we welcome new members, celebrate volunteers, and celebrate Flower Communion. And now over to our minister, Reverend Diana Smith, for the call together.
Good morning. I'm Reverend Diana Smith, the minister of the Unitarian Universalist Society, and my pronouns are she and her. It's wonderful to be with you all this morning as we gather online and in person. As we gather, we give thanks for and to the land that we sit or stand upon and all who have stewarded this land over the centuries, particularly the nations who lived in interdependence with this land, the Kickapoo, the Iowa, the Sauk and Meskwaki, and the Oceti-Sakowin, the Sioux Nation. As we gather in these times of change, we know that it is so important to be together, to come together as a spiritual community, to gain the sustenance that we each and all need and to help nourish each other. As members of a covenantal faith that express our core value of love through how we agree to be together and to support each other, it is good to come together and to affirm that even when we are not all together in body, this congregation remains strong and connected. To affirm that we have faith and hope in this congregation, in each other, and in the ways we continue to grow during the challenges of life. And to affirm that wherever any of us is on our life's journey, whether we come to worship with joy in our hearts, weighted with burdens in need of rest, or searching for people to engage in the struggle with us, we are glad, and this congregation is glad, that we are here. Today we're celebrating many things: our diversity and the many gifts that make us a community, new members, the ways that we share our gifts. And we're celebrating these things even as we carry fear, anger, and concern over what is happening in our country and our world, particularly with the news this week about the Supreme Court's deliberations on overturning Roe v. Wade. And we are holding and sharing all of this on what is both a joyous and a complicated day, Mother's Day. And so today, in the words of the Reverend Linda Susan Ulrich, for all the mothers and mother figures, the grandmothers, aunts, and extended family members who mother, the soon-to-be mothers, the wish they were mothers, the never wanted to be mothers, the it's complicated mothers, the birth mothers, foster mothers, adoptive mothers, and stepmothers, the used-to-be dad mothers, and more than one mom mothers, the single mothers, separated mothers, stay-at-home mothers, unhoused mothers, the grieving mothers, those who grieve their mothers, and those whose grief is complex. For all the communities that mother, and for all who depend on the Great Mother, you are held and beloved. Mindful of how we are held on this day and of all we are holding, I share this call to worship by Thomas Rhodes. We come in a variety of colors, shapes, and sizes. Some of us grow in bunches. Some of us grow alone. Some of us are cupped inward. Some of us spread ourselves out wide. Some of us are old and dried and tougher than we appear. Some of us are still in bud. Some of us are low to the ground. Some of us stretch toward the sun. Some of us feel like weeds sometimes. Some of us carry seeds sometimes. Some of us are prickly sometimes. Some of us smell, and all of us are beautiful. What a bouquet of people we are. And so, let us, this bouquet of amazing people, join our voices that are sometimes loud and sometimes soft and sometimes screechy and sometimes sonorous. Let us join our voices in song as we sing When I Am Frightened, hymn number 1012, and if you have a teal hymnal, or the words will appear on the screen. Donna Simonton will lead us.
Morning on this Mother's Day. I'm Julia Lormanodel Helm, a worship associate and member of the UUS, as well as on the board. As Unitarian Universalists, we light a flame within a chalice as a symbol of sanctuary and safety, to unite us in our worship and to remind us of our ongoing search for the light of truth. Please join me in saying our chalice lighting words. Life is a gift for which we are grateful. We gather in community to celebrate the wonder and mystery of this great gift. So let us now kindle the flame of our liberal religious heritage and renew our covenant of mutual love and care. Love is our doctrine, the quest for truth is our sacrament, and service is our prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, and to serve those in need. This we promise, this we covenant with life and one another.
Each week, when we light a candle for justice and healing, we hold space for our understanding of interdependence, that our liberation is bound up with every other person's, and our feelings of rage and heartbreak over the ongoing pandemics of illness and racism, the devastation of climate chaos, and the waves of trauma washing over our world. We light this candle that we may not be numbed or lost to injustice, devastation, illness, and trauma, but rather find strength, courage, and love together to continue engaging with the struggles for liberation, justice, and healing. We light this candle to help us remind ourselves that together we are creating resilience and hope. Today, as we light this candle, we are particularly mindful of the news this week about the Supreme Court's draft decision to overturn Roe v. Wade, and all those whose reproductive rights are at risk, all those who love people whose reproductive rights are at risk, and all those who fear where this signals the court is headed. Our Unitarian Universalist faith holds central the inherent worth and dignity of all people, which includes a belief in the sacredness of all bodies, and the importance of self-determination and human agency. We support every person's right to make decisions about their own bodies and reproductive health, including the choice to seek abortion care. And we are committed to building a world where all people are able to make choices about their bodies, their health, and their families within safe, thriving communities. As we light our candle for justice and healing this morning, we hold these truths and these commitments in our hearts, and we are mindful that Mother's Day has changed its meaning over the years, but began 150 years ago as a call for peace. We can hear that clearly in this reading of the Mother's Day Proclamation written in 1870 by Unitarian Julia Ward Howe. This call remains crucial in our times, even as parts of its meaning may change how they speak to us and where they call us. I invite you now to listen to this video message of the Mother's Day Proclamation as we reflect on our candle of justice and healing.
Arise, all women who have hearts.
Whether your baptism be that of water or of tears.
Say firmly, we will not have great questions decided by irrelevant agencies.
Our husbands shall not come to us reeking with carnage for caresses and applause.
Our sons shall not be taken from us to unlearn all that we have been able to teach them of charity, mercy, and patience.
We women of one country will be too tender of those of another country,
to allow our sons to be trained to injure theirs.
From the bosom of the devastated earth, a voice goes up with our own.
It says, disarm,
Disarm. The sword is not the balance of justice.
Blood does not wipe out dishonor, or violence indicate possession.
As men have often forsaken the plow and the anvil at the summons of war.
Let women now leave all that may be left of home for a great and earnest day of council.
Let them meet first as women to bewail and commemorate the dead.
Let them solemnly take counsel with each other as to the means whereby the great human family can live in peace.
Each learning after their own time the sacred impress, not of Caesar, but of God.
In the name of womanhood and of humanity,
I earnestly ask that a General Congress of Women without limit of nationality
may be appointed and held at some place deemed most convenient and at the earliest period consistent with its objects.
To promote the alliance of the different nationalities.
The amicable settlements of international questions.
the great and general interest of peace.
Peace. Peace.
Peace.
peace.
As I light this candle,
Arise, all women who have hearts.
we can listen to that Mother's Day proclamation again and again, right? And it is amazing how it resonates today. And so as I light this candle, let's listen to our hearts and our bodies and perhaps lift up prayers. And now, please join in singing our centering music, or simply take this time to sink more deeply into the presence of each other. If you're online participating in this service, please feel free to use the chat to let us know that your chalice is lit. Soon, we'll participate in a flower ceremony, a unique Unitarian ritual created in 1923 in Prague by the Reverend Norbert Čapek. The ritual celebrates beauty, human uniqueness, diversity, and community. You could also say that it celebrates our many different ways of understanding the sacred, the spirit of life, God, our free and responsible search for truth and meaning. Let's watch a video about how flower communion came to be.
Come with me. As we travel to Prague, Czechoslovakia, in Europe, the year 1923, there was a Unitarian church. Now, the building did not look at all like our church. In fact, it did not look like a church at all. It did not have a tall steeple reaching toward the sky like some churches do. It did not have massive doors carved of wood or windows of stained glass. It did not have a chalice, a piano, or flowers. The church had walls, a ceiling, a floor, a door, a few windows, and some hard wooden chairs. But thankfully, the church had people who came every Sunday, and they were the most important part of the church, because without people, any church is just a building, no matter how tall its steeple. The people of Prague had been through hard times. They had just recently been through 4 years of war. Many people in Prague had been divided about the war. Many had lost loved ones or had been hungry or scared, and even though the war had ended, many bad feelings still remained. The church also had a minister. His name was Norbert Čapek. Reverend Čapek had been the minister of this church for 2 years. Every Sunday he spoke to the people and they listened, sitting quietly on those hard wooden chairs. When he finished speaking, the people talked a little bit among themselves, and then they went home. And that was all. No music, no candles, no food. Now, Reverend Čapek, he was a thinker, and he wondered sometimes if there might be something, perhaps just a little something more spiritual. He wrote some songs, and the people sang them, and it helped, but something was still missing. The church went on as before. One spring morning, near the end of May, as Reverend Chapek was out for a walk, he noticed the birds singing and the flowers blooming, and felt the sunshine on his face. How beautiful the world is! And then an idea came to him. The next Sunday, he asked all the people of the church to bring a flower or a budding branch to church the next week. Each person was to bring one. What kind? They asked. What color? What size? You choose, he said. Each of you, choose what you like. And so, the next Sunday, which felt like the first day of summer, the people came with flowers of all different colors and sizes and kinds. There were yellow and white daisies and red roses, blue asters, dark-eyed pansies, grape hyacinth, pink and purple, orange and gold, all the colors of the rainbow and more. Children helped arrange them and bring them forward to the front of the church. Flowers filled all the vases, and beauty filled their hearts. The church wasn't so plain anymore. They had created beauty together. Reverend Chapek spoke to the people, and they listened, sitting quiet and still in those hard wooden chairs. Those flowers are like us, he said, different colors, different shapes, and different sizes, each needing different kinds of care, but each beautiful, important, and special in its own way. He said a blessing of the flowers, which called for everyone in the room to see one another as family, despite differences, and to let the spirit of love unite them and help them live more joyfully. He invited each person to take a flower home with them when they left, a different flower than what they had brought. And when the service ended that day, the people turned and talked a little bit more among themselves. And maybe there was some laughter, and then they each chose a flower from the vases before they left and took it home as a gift from their church family. And each year, at the start of summer, they did this again. Come with me as we travel to Prague, Czech.
So, about 100 years ago, they practiced the flower ceremony for the first time, and today we continue to practice it. Today we practice it to celebrate beauty, diversity, resilience, joy, and how we co-create our congregations. And so, as we practice our flower ceremony today, I invite you to meditate on the diversity, beauty, and resilience of the flowers and of this congregation and how we are co-creating it today and all days. So now as Xinghui plays, come forward and add your flowers to our bouquets. by these flowers that celebrate the beauty of this community, we celebrate our new member covenanting ceremony. It's a momentous time in the life of a congregation when someone new is welcomed into the covenant of membership, a time to rejoice in the gifts of this spiritual community. Today, Peggy Garrigus, Director of Congregational and Community Engagement, and Alan Swanson, President of the Board of Trustees, will be joining me in leading this new member covenanting ceremony. Peggy and Alan, would you come up here? Unitarian Universalism is a non-creedal faith. No one needs to assent to a statement of belief in order to find membership with us. It's our covenant that binds us together, our mutual promise to travel together in the ways of care and love. Being a covenantal rather than a creedal religion means that as a religious community, we're defined by how we come together and the values and ways of being that we choose to affirm and promote, as well as by our ways of relating to various theological truths rather than by a specific belief system. You could say that being defined by covenant means that Unitarian Universalist congregations are defined by love and the ways that we're always seeking to live love, even though we know that we're always learning how to live love more fully. That's because covenants are entered into in relationship and are a way of saying how we want to be in relationship with each other. They're a way of saying to whom and for what we want to be accountable, how we want to be with one another, and often some of the fundamental principles for our actions. They can also tell us about what we aspire to be together and to be for one another. Our covenants and what we covenant for fundamentally define us as Unitarian Universalists. They give us space to engage in our spiritual work that defines this as a faith community, a congregation, a church. And so this is a momentous occasion because it gives each of us the opportunity to renew our own commitments to living the covenant to the fullest and best that we can.
Each of the people that we are celebrating this morning have taken the time and care to learn about Unitarian Universalism and this congregation. They've attended sessions to learn the history and values of Unitarian Universalism. They have learned some about our UUS history in the Iowa City area and about the variety of groups and opportunities we offer. And they have attended a session where they met representatives of the board and met with Reverend Diana and heard the importance of supporting our congregation with their time, energy, and financial resources. Each person has affirmed our values and principles and said yes to the call of our mission to serve one another in the world. Each understands that our faith is a lifetime search for truth and meaning, and that joining this congregation affirms a willingness to continue to grow as people, both emotionally and spiritually. When each of them signs the membership book, they are committing to the principles of Unitarian Universalism and to the values, mission, and vision of this congregation. I'll now call our new members' names and invite them to come forward, signing the membership book as they hear their name. Denise Hagerla. Mandy Harris. And Sue Can.
Denise, Mandy, and Sue, may this be your religious and spiritual home, and may you be woven into the intricate fabric that is this community's life together. Here you'll be cared for and will be asked to care for others. We welcome your presence among us and ask that you join us in the life and mission of this congregation. In the presence of those gathered in person and online, I now ask you to state your intentions. Will you travel together with us in a covenant of mutual care and love, help us be a welcoming and inclusive community, and share in the joys and responsibilities of membership? Please say we will. And will each of you join us joyfully and as fully as you're able in our shared ministry of serving others as we seek to become a welcoming and spiritually diverse home, a place where we act on our values to honor the earth, advocate for racial and social justice, foster deep connections, and embrace the ongoing quest for meaning? Please say we will.
We want everyone to be able to welcome these new members. Since we're online, I invite the members of the congregation to say "we will" when I indicate, while the members who are here in person with us say the words with me. Then I invite those of you who are online to extend your welcome to our new members using the chat function. So now, will you ongoing members joyfully welcome these persons into our congregation, invite them to our shared ministries, be open to their unique gifts and wisdom, and covenant to travel with them and each other in friendship, respect, and love. Members of the congregation, please say, "We will." Do you renew your promise to travel together with one another in a covenant with mutual care and love, to help us be welcoming and an inclusive community, and to participate in our shared service to one another and the world as fully as you are able? If so, please say, "We do."
Denise, Mandy, and Sue, joining the Unitarian Universalist Society is a powerful and transforming event in your lives. Membership comes with both gifts and responsibilities. Within this community of seekers, you'll be challenged to grow in spirit and to live out our UU principles in your lives within this congregation and beyond it. Ours is a shared ministry. You will be called to offer the fullness of who you are as individual persons in service of our mutual promises of love and care for each other. Our deep hope is that you will open your hearts to accept the gifts of spiritual community and know that you do not journey alone. As we end this ceremony, as a symbol of the light you are bringing to this community, we invite you one at a time to light a candle here in the sanctuary. After that, in honor of signing the membership book, you'll receive a rose of friendship. Like life and like the rose, the journey of spiritual community may be thorny at times, and our hope is that your journey among us will unfold as sweetly as the petals of the rose. We are glad you have chosen to make your spiritual home with us. Welcome. Please light your candle and receive your gifts.
How we give, what we do with our lives, our time, and our resources is a reflection of our values. In response to the abundance we are blessed with, every week this congregation donates generously to organizations in the community whose work aligns with our values and principles. Our community partner agency this week is Community, Crisis Center and Food Bank, formerly the Crisis Center. Community is a volunteer-driven organization based in Iowa City which provides immediate and non-judgmental support for individuals facing emotional, food, or financial crises. Services include a 24/7 crisis hotline, chat, and text hotlines, support groups, in-house, and mobile food banks. A basic needs program that includes utility and housing assistance, a mobile mental health crisis outreach program, and prescription and other health and work-related assistance. On the screen, you will see instructions of how to give online, or you may take this time to write a check and address the envelope to UUS to be put in the mail. If you're attending this service here in the sanctuary, you can give online, or there is a basket for the checks in the atrium. The ushers can help you find it after the service. It takes cash, too. You may assist our community partner, contribute to the congregation to provide additional support for our operating expenses, or contribute towards your pledge to our society. The offering is a sign of commitment to this free congregation, which is completely supported by the generosity of all who join us. As we give and receive the offering, may we be transformed by our giving, and may the world be transformed by our gifts.
Fitting that today we're also celebrating the sacred resources of you, our people. So many of you offer your generous gifts to the Unitarian Universalist Society, making it a congregation. Your staff and your board appreciate all who bring their open hearts, open minds, helping hands, and loving spirits to support the ministries of this congregation. We come together at UUS to deepen our personal lives, move towards more just relationship with other communities, and bring healing and peace to the world. Peggy Garrigus, Alan Swanson, Diana Henry, and Paula Miller are going to help me in this volunteer appreciation. So Alan, Diana, and Paula, if you could kind of queue up here, that'll be helpful.
There are many ways we do this. Each color of flower in our bouquets will represent a part of our care, a piece of all the wonderful people and activities that make this congregation vital and whole. For each area of care, we will invite people who have contributed to rise as they are able and be recognized, or to raise a hand if rising is not what your body needs to do today. A board member, a child who is helping, or another leader will hand you a flower. Please remain standing or with raised hand until the congregation sings a thanks to you. We will sing a song of thanks and praise.
We're going to begin our appreciation part. So to help deliver flowers, could the other board members who said that they could help, can you come forward to kind of help up here? So like Joe, that's you, and I don't know who else is here. But and if there are children and youth who are here anywhere in the building, we welcome you. And since it seems like most of our children and youth have stayed home to have a slow morning today, if there are people who are young at heart who want to help deliver flowers, that would be fabulous. We begin with appreciating the care that people bring to our worship life. Our worship services on Sunday morning and on special occasions are meant to help us develop our spiritual lives. That is how we make meaning and purpose of the things that happen in life. They're meant to connect us to each other and to our sense of the sacred. Our worship life is created and held by many hands. For those of you who care for our worship life, we thank you. If you are involved in any of the following groups, please rise or raise a hand and you'll receive a purple or blue flower from someone. Remain so until the congregation has offered their thanks and praise in song. We're going to sing that song that Donna just led us in. Names of volunteers in these areas are printed in the handout available at the doors and will be in a weekly email this Thursday. We weren't able to get them all on the slides. There were just so many that we had a lot of formatting trouble. So if you notice that a name is missing from those lists that you see in the atrium or that you'll get this Thursday in the weekly email, please notify Emma in the office so that the list will be updated before they're printed in the June newsletter. So now, please rise or raise a hand if you are a choir, a special music coordinator, or a musician. And people are going to start delivering flowers to you as this happens, blue and purple ones. Worship associates. Hospitality team members, AV volunteers, memorial team members, or ministerial installation service team members. So, yes, we'll be distributing the purple and blue flowers. Why don't we all join in helping do this too? All right, now let's sing our song in appreciation.
Some of our care, Some of our care is less visible, but no less important to the health and well-being of our WUC congregation. Should that be UUS?
Oh, sorry, the UUS congregation.
UUS congregation. I thought,
You can edit it as you go along. If I...
There are so many ways that the infrastructure of our congregation is maintained through the finances, tending the building, supporting leadership, and helping things run. For those of you who care for our congregation, we thank you. If you are involved in any of the following groups, please rise or raise a hand, and you will receive a yellow or orange flower from the board or the committee chair. Remain so until the congregation has offered their thanks and praise. Board of Trustees. Okay, Personnel Committee. Mission and Vision Review Committee. Right Relations Committee. Governance Committee. Finance Committee. Balance and Growth Initiative. COVID Team and Task Force. Stewardship Committee. Endowment Committee. Leadership Development Committee. Membership Associates. Publicity Team. Building Team. Grounds Team. Land Ministry. Aesthetics Team. Historical Records Team. Auction and Fundraising Teams. DLRE Search Team. Music Staff Search Team. Facilities Coordinator Search Team. And Communications Coordinator Search Team.
So again, let's sing From You I Receive, to You I Give.
Some of our care takes place outside of our campus to ensure that the inherent worth and dignity of every being is honored and respected. For those of you who care for our wider community, we thank you. If you are involved in any of the following committees, please rise or raise a hand, and you will receive a red or pink flower from the board or committee chair. Social Justice Team, Racial Justice Team, Green Sanctuary Team, Radical Welcome Team, Prison Ministry Team, Immigration Action Team and Circle of Friends, Free Lunch, attended a march or protest or city council meeting, or wrote letters to elected officials.
And now let's again sing our appreciation.
An important aspect of our care is our encouragement of spiritual growth and our free and responsible search for truth and meaning. As Unitarian Universalists, we have the gift of being able to pursue spiritual growth in many ways. For those of you who care for our mind, heart, body, and spirit connection, we thank you. If you are involved in any of the following groups, please rise or raise a hand, and you will receive a green or white flower from the board or program leaders. Remain so until the congregation has offered their thanks and praise. Religious education and nursery, religious education transition team, pastoral care team, interest and activity groups, covenant group leaders, Wellspring leaders, mind and spirit group leaders, including Buddhist Sangha, CUPS, and secular humanists, listening campaign leaders and listeners.
Once again, let's join our voices in our song of appreciation.
And now would everyone who's been helping distribute flowers come forward and take a flower and then return to your seats. Oh, come on. This is you. Yeah. Okay, so some of you have a flower, and many of you have multiple flowers. There may be a few people here who just beginning to open up to the gifts to UUS, particularly during this pandemic period. If you have multiple flowers and someone near you has none, please turn to them, offer them a flower, as a way to symbolize that UUS is always ready to receive the gifts that we have to offer. Wow. Is that yours or mine? Oh, cool.
Each one of us brings our gifts, talents, perspectives, spiritual journeys, joys, and sorrows. Each of us brings a unique and beautiful self. Thank you, everyone, for the gifts you bring to this community. And so let's mark this moment with a lightly adapted flower communion prayer written almost 100 years ago by Reverend Dr. Norbert Chapek, who created the original flower communion. Infinite Spirit of life, we ask your blessing on these, your messengers of fellowship and love. May they remind us, amid diversities of knowledge and of gifts, to be one in desire and affection and devotion to your holy will. May they also remind us of the value of comradeship, of doing and sharing alike. May we cherish friendship as one of life's most precious gifts. May we not let awareness of another's talents discourage us or sully our relationship, but may we realize that whatever we can do, great or small, the efforts of all of us are needed to do the work of love in the world. Amen. Today, we've recognized many members who make this congregation a special place. But before we end our time together today, we have one more volunteer to recognize, someone who's volunteered in virtually every part of our congregation over many years. Alan, will you come up here to tell people about this?
Departing from the script again, I would like to have a round of applause for all the volunteers in this congregation who are the lifeblood of this place. Well deserved. Jim Laughlin has been active in UUS for many years. He's a member of the choir, often sings a solo during the service, and is a worship associate. He served on the new facilities committee and met regularly with the contractors during the building process. Jim has served on the board as vice president, president, and past president. He has attended leadership development school and has served as staff. For many years, Jim was on the Building and Grounds Committee at 10 South Gilbert Street, and for part of that time, he also served on the Space Committee. Jim is now on the grounds team, the building team, and the land ministry team for us. He spends countless hours on our site, clearing the trails, mowing the grounds, and helping on every proclaimed workday. When there's a building or grounds concern or issue, Jim always can be counted on to help. It is my pleasure, on behalf of the board and all of you, to present Jim with the Augusta Chapin Award, named for a renowned educator and one of the earliest Unitarian ministers to be ordained. Born in 1836, she later organized many Universalist congregations around the country and served as Iowa City's already existing congregation from 1870 to 1873. Jim will receive his own plaque later. It's not ready yet. But it's well-meaning. And I have here the plaque that's in the conference room to which he will be also added. And it says, "This award recognizes and celebrates individuals who have contributed to the UUS in an extraordinary way. The individuals listed below have given freely of their time, effort, and energy over extended periods of time with a high level of engagement. It is these actions and qualities that make the Unitarian Universalist Society the warm, welcoming home we cherish." And I would add that there's one prior recipient, Deb Schollerman, and his name will be the next. And hers was in 2018 and 2022. Congratulations, and thank you so much for all that you've done.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I am deeply humbled to receive this award. There are lots of spaces left on that plaque, and lots of people who deserve to be there. Many more than I deserve to be there, but they should be on that plaque as well. I hope in the coming time we add more names to that plaque. I appreciate my life here and this wonderful building we created and the family that I have. Thank you very much.
I think with his example, we will. Nurturing gratitude and how we understand and express interdependence is part of how we live into our Unitarian Universalist faith. May what we have shared today help us more fully affirm our interconnectedness and live into love and justice. Immediately after the service today, we will be commissioning our memorial garden in addition to our usual time for all to join in conversation and community. If you're online, a link to our Zoom coffee hour rooms is being dropped into the chat. If you are in person, after we head outside to commission the memorial garden, we gather in the fellowship hall outside for conversation. There will also be an 8th principal informational session in the conference room and online after the memorial garden commissioning. And now, to close our service today, we'll be singing whatever we're singing.
We're singing hymn number 354 in the Gray Book. We laugh, we cry, we live, we die. We dance, we sing a song.
Please join me in the words for extinguishing the chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. All these we carry in our hearts and our minds until we are together again.
And now, as we go out into the world today, may we go ever growing, ever sharing ourselves, giving as we receive. Go in peace, love, and justice, living love ever more fully and fiercely into this world. Amen, and blessed be. And now please share in singing our choral benediction, if you would like. And afterwards, we will head, those of us who are going out to the Memorial Garden commissioning will head right out there.